The zombie apocalypse in video games, a match made in heaven almost 100% of the time. Hate to break it to you guys, but Project Zomboid is one of the outliers of epic failure that prevents this genre from batting 1000. As you boot up the game, you're going to be treated to a bare bones tutorial, if you so choose. Welcome to Right-Click-A-Palooza, everyone, where everything you're going to do is generally going to be started by hitting the right mouse button, which goes against convention of every other game out there. If your mouse has ever yelled at you for using the left click too much, Project Zomboid has got that handled, everybody. You're going to learn how to right click on things to eat and drink. You're going to learn how to right click on things to search them. It's going to be amazing. And then you're going to get shoved into combat as soon as you're done learning how to right click everything around you. Once you get through the bare bones combat tutorial, you're just going to get swarmed by a horde of unsurvivable zombies. And then poof, your character's dead. Go ahead and make a new guy and hit the real game. Good luck, kiddo, you're gonna need it. Now, what makes this game a red-hot dumpster fire objectively? It's the UI. Trust me, it's the UI. Never has a game done a better job of making it an absolutely horrific experience of navigating menus and having a seamless experience. You say that you want intuitive, but Project Zomboid knows that what you really want is an overly complicated menu and submenu system that's going to leave your head spinning. From crafting and building things to make your life a little bit easier, to trying to decipher your character's current health and condition, nothing in this game is going to be terribly easy for you to find, which is absolutely amazing because of the sheer amount of micromanagement you're going to have to do in this game, and using the menus is going to happen quite a bit. Everything, literally everything, is a 4 to 5 step process of clicks, clicks, and more clicks. I mean it. Crafting, tending to your wounds, all of it. Why would we as gamers want a game that we can just sit down and enjoy ourselves with? Oh, it's all part of the flavor and you just don't get it. You know what? You're right. I don't get how anyone thinks this is an actual game. You know what this feels like? It feels like real life in digital form. And to be perfectly honest, I already have enough bullshit going on in my day-to-day that doing the same tedious garbage when I sit down to try to enjoy myself, I can honestly say that the first thing in the back of my mind when I'm doing that isn't, how can this game make me feel like I'm going to go about my day all over again? Cooking food? Oh yeah, you're in for the micromanagement of your life, baby. Clearly your survivor has never made a thing for themselves. Initially, you have no knowledge to make almost anything. The most basic of foods, you can just go ahead and say, oh, I don't know if I've ever had that in my life or if I've ever actually cooked at home. Maybe your character has ate out literally every day of their lives. I can honestly say that the protagonist you're controlling in Project Zomboid probably single-handedly kept afloat every fast food chain around them, or Uber Eats, or any of the other services that dropped food off at their front door every time they had something to eat. Now, even though your character may have no knowledge of how to cook anything right from the jump, you can take a perk for it. That's right, you can spend some of your hard-earned points for your character to make them more of a survivor in the zombie apocalypse. You can spend that on cooking, even though this is supposed to be one of the most realistic zombie sims out there. All the people who really love this game, who really think that it's the most realistic thing out there, will always sit back and say, oh, it's so deep, and it's so neat how true to life this is. When your character can't cook a goddamn thing, and even my dumbass here in the real world, even I know how to make myself a cheeseburger. When you finally get around to cooking something, it's an adventure in itself as well. Given the tutorial that we just briefly talked about gives you no knowledge on how to make food as you progress through the game, learning how to even just turn on a stove so you can start cooking your food turns out to be a around and find out adventure. You're going to have to navigate menus and more menus just to figure out how you want to cook and what you want to cook, and all the while your character might be starving and wasting away and potentially dying while you're just trying to stuff something in your mouth hole. Finally, when you do figure out how to turn on the stove and cook something, please make sure that you don't walk away from said food item, because that's right. In an awesomely realistic game that requires all the micromanagement, you're gonna have to sit there and watch your shit cook. And if you don't sit there and watch your stuff cook, you could potentially burn it, making it a useless piece of non-consumable trash or something that isn't going to help you one bit anyway. Go ahead and stand back and watch that progress bar go, or if you're feeling adventurous, maybe you still can go out and try to do something and just pray to God that you don't overcook it too much while you're trying to figure out other stuff. So you have some food and you're getting ready to make it, but you've just come to the crushing realization that none of the domiciles in this game that you walk into may have a good set of pots and pans. So guess what time it is, everyone? It's time to get out there, face the zombie horde, and start finding shit you probably should have found in the house anyway. Just remember, it's all part of the fun. From here, we're going to get into another awesome part of Project Zomboid's intense realism, and that's line of sight. Evidently, every one of our heroes or heroines have the halo from this guy You know, remember this guy from Fight Club? And that like nice little halo on top of his head that couldn't, you know, he can't turn his neck. I think every one of our heroes and heroines have one of these attached to their head. Reason being is that when you're walking around in Project Zomboid, your character basically only has a 160-degree field of vision right in front of them. Head on a swivel in the zombie end times? Why the hell would we do that? I gotta keep myself locked in to directly in front of me. Otherwise, I might miss something, right? Turning my head left and right? That's for peasants, everyone. You know what? A horse with blinders on even knows that it has to twist its head back and forth to make sure it knows what's around it. But not us trying to die in the end times, guys. No, no, no. We can't have that. Not on our watch. That would be far too much to ask. So can someone please tell me why in the hell in an isometric perspective game that they don't give us 360-degree field of vision around us? Fine, I get it. A house can block your line of sight. That makes total sense. You're not going to be able to see through a house. But it's this insinuation that we are going to be looking around left and right and behind even every once in a while we are walking around and trying to survive kind of insults our intelligence, and it's probably one of the most unrealistic things I have ever seen in a game in a very long time. To add insult to injury, everyone, a tree will break your line of sight as well. No, I'm not talking about just a little bit right behind it. I'm talking about huge swaths of area. So you see this picture right here? This is what I see when I like take a picture through my phone or just when I'm going around my day-to-day life. Now, if I was walking in Project Zomboid and I came upon the same scene, this is actually what I would see right here. That's right. I'm not talking about a copse of trees blocking my line of sight from one place to another. I'm talking about one single solitary tree blocking everything behind it in an approximate, I don't know, 45 to 60 degree angle. So like here we are in the game, we're walking around, we're coming up to 3 trees directly in front of us. Can't see a goddamn thing around it. Okay, well, let's just go ahead and break around this way and oh my God, there it is. A whole ass fucking car was behind 3 different trees that clearly weren't blocking that much line of sight. Man, guys, let me tell you, the realism in this game, ooh, it's so Are you being chased by a zombie? Well, guess what? You're not gonna know unless you're looking directly at that bad boy. Thanks, field of vision. Another feather
in your hat. Another feather in your lap.
No. Well, what letter would you like?
A P. Another feather in your map.
Y'all solved. Another feather in your cap.
Yeah, there you go.
In your cap. Bear in mind as well that if you are trying to keep a line of sight on these guys and you're backpedaling away from them, these assholes can run faster than you can backpedal because a sense of urgency in the zombie apocalypse when you're trying to survive is not going to happen on Project Zomboid's watch. So inevitably, while you're backpedaling and keeping your eye on the zombie that you obviously wouldn't know was behind you if you decide to turn around and bust your ass running away from him because you don't want to die, well, good luck fighting them. On the base settings of this game, there is no indication of when a zombie is in range. So you're just gonna swing, and then you're gonna swing again. And then maybe you're gonna hit, and maybe it's gonna get close enough, but then if it gets too close, you're not gonna swing it, you're only gonna be able to shove it away. So if you don't go into the settings before you start playing this game and flip that particular switch, pretty easy misses, pretty easy mess ups, and pretty quick deaths are gonna happen to you. Even when you finally do figure out the combat of this game, and this is part of me maybe not just completely dumping on it anymore, the combat in this game isn't really all that satisfying anyway. By the time you crack the head of or curb stomp your 20th flesh eater, you're going to know what you're in for the rest of the time that you play this game when it comes to actually fighting the undead. So if you were one of those people that were kind of hoping that, hey, all this other stuff I can kind of manage as long as the combat is a little bit satisfying, you are in for a world of hurt and dissatisfaction. Your hopes have come here to die, and there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. What you are going to find in this game is a real-world simulator with a side of zombies for funsies, which is pretty apropos given that this game did originate as a mod for The Sims from everything that I have gathered and understand. From what I have personally experienced, and from what I've seen watching fellow streamers, Project Zomboid is about 80 to 90% busy work and micromanagement, with the rest actually playing the game. And when I say micromanagement, I'm talking about building stuff, looking for resources, making sure things don't burn like your food, building something up that's going to help you make a wall or reinforce a door, and so on and so forth. A lot of that micromanagement is just going to be looking for materials. That's about it. You want to build something, you want to cook something, you want to craft something, whatever, you're just going to be doing a bunch of busy work. Out of that remaining 10 to 20%, you're going to be fighting the zombies probably a third or half the time. If you consider raising animals part of the fun of a game, then that will be the other percentage of that playtime. What I'm ultimately trying to say here is if you're looking for combat survival in a zombie game, you may as well start looking elsewhere. If a die a bunch while having a chill time while surviving and doing everything you do in the real world but in digital form is your thing, well, you've hit the jackpot with Project Zomboid, everyone. Project Zomboid sucks. If I could get my money back, I would, but I tried to give this game so much grace as possible, and man, do I wish I would have gone with my gut when I spent the first 30 minutes just trying to work out the user interface. I mean, the game's only been in EA for 13 goddamn years. It's not like they've had the time to make a more streamlined user experience or anything. I mean, who would want that, you know? It's like they've been busy with other stuff, and you know what? After 13 years, we can't possibly expect that. All right, before you stands out there start getting up in your fifis and start belting out the, well, it really grows on you after 70 or so hours when you finally figure it all out and it clicks, or say the other argument, which is, well, all you gotta do is download 50 or so mods and it becomes really awesome. Just don't. In all honesty, a good game does not require you to either piss away your very precious, very limited time on this planet, or require you to go out of your way to find ways to make it awesome and a playable piece of digital entertainment. You know what, guys? God damn it. You all need to stop making excuses for horrible garbage and just be able to say, yeah, you know what? It's kind of trash, but it's my trash. I mean, I'd be all about that, and I would completely respect that. Just stop pissing in my ear and telling me that it's raining. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed the video, or at least were entertained by my very subjective opinions, except the UI. The UI is still objectively trash. Then make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Make sure you turn on your notifications. I do a lot of game reviews. I do a lot of other things on this. I dive into some pop culture as well. But I definitely hope to see you guys back here. I hope you guys were entertained again. That's really all that matters. A huge thanks to my patrons and the channel members of this site. You guys really do help me pay my bills and keep this going. I also live stream on Twitch if you're interested in checking out some live streams and hanging out with a pretty cool community. As long as you don't mind me bagging on Project Zomboid pretty hard, you're probably gonna have a pretty good time. And even then, I'm glad that people enjoy this game. It's just man, it's just that goddamn bad in my opinion. All right, you know what? That's it. I'm out. I'm gonna go play 7 Days to Die or something. You know, a good zombie survival game.